We're at Paul Ricard this weekend for the second event within the GT4 European Series, and qualifying is about to get underway. It's another huge entry, but we have 44 cars in total ready to venture out onto the circuit. And the championship, having kicked off at Monza, gave us those 2 wins for Bailey Voisin and Charlie Fagg. They come here very much as the favourites, but runners-up last time out in both races, Antoine Potti and Stéphane Lemeray, will be eager to give the Toyota a race victory. Yvan Jacome and Max Musnelli took a third, as also did Fabien Marchal and Greg Gilbert. We've got Pro-Am, Silver and Am classes to look for, and 2 20-minute qualifying periods set to get underway. The first, of course, to determine the grid for race 1, second session race 2. 1 driver, 1 session, and it's such a busy weekend here at Paul Ricard. So many championships and big entries that the GT4 paddock is on the outside of the circuit, so it takes a little while to get the cars under the circuit, round into the pit lane, and then good to go. But we are going to get things underway in about 20 seconds time as the Paul Ricard circuit awaits. Now, GT4 racing has become very, very popular in recent years, and this is the ideal venue for the cars because it's got fast sections, as you see, that long Mistral straight, and some technical twisty elements as well. So it's a good leveller between the cars with the big engines and those perhaps less powerful, such as the Alpines. So it's a great mix. You've got Mercedes taking on Toyota, taking on Audi, taking on BMW, taking on Chevrolet, taking on Aston Martin, taking on McLaren, taking on Alpine, taking on Porsche. So the green flag is waved, and the drivers now venturing out onto the circuit, with the first car out being number 2 of Jean-Ludovic Foubert, the CD Sport Mercedes. He in turn is pursued down the pit lane by number 7 of Pascal Bachmann, the street art Aston Martin. At the wheel of number 9, Christian Gysi. Nikolai Müller-Madsen out on track, and a potential for pole position in this, I would have thought. Piotr Chodzin goes out in number 33 Toyota, and 34 Sellerslach Mercedes for Luca Bosco. A driver that was on the GT3 pole here last year, Christophe Hamon, is in GT4 this season and is on track. As I say, the pit lane gradually starting to empty now. Nikolai Müller-Madsen's transponder has just flicked, so he is not going to do this session. He will do Q2, and it is Joel Sturm instead, who was impressive, in fact, at Monza. He will go first. Paolo Maloney in number 50 BMW out on track, another of the drivers to keep an eye on because a very experienced campaigner is Paolo Maloney. We've just gone through GT3 qualifying, and much of what was said about the traffic and about it being a short, sharp session and little time to hang about applies very much in GT4 as well, where it's still this monster entry that you've got to contend with. So track space, very, very important indeed. Number 69 Audi there you see, which is the car that Christophe Hamon starts. Number 8 Stéphane Lemeray, the hugely experienced Belgian driver. He will go first in that car. Quick opportunity to get a bit more warmth into the tyres over the line. There goes number 69 then. So Christophe Hamon sets a flying lap. Sorry, starts a flying lap I should say now. With great gusto. Who else do we have looking as though they are going to be quick? Thomas Hodier for Team Speed Car joins the circuit. What we don't have, I don't think, sadly, are the 2 Turkish BMWs, because those cars have been withdrawn, partly because of the need for the drivers to be back home because of the travel restrictions, which is a real kick. So we've lost the 2 Borisov Automotive Motorsport BMWs. Great, great shame that. Ibanyev goes out at number 15 Mercedes Helm. Jock Raponge, number 17 Corvette. Again, they'll be quick cars. And Bailey Voisin is at the wheel of the number 23 Monza winning McLaren, the United Autosports brackets HHC Motorsport entry. So that, again, is one that's going to be well worth watching. The sister car, Gus Bowers, goes first. And Gus Bowers will give way to Dean McDonald for Q2. Ruben Del Sart, graduate of Ginetta Juniors in the UK, out on track. So the road getting busier and busier all the time. Got only a couple of cars, I think, that have yet to go out onto the circuit there. And one of the fabulous-looking 718 Caymans is Amedeo Pampanini. He's finding himself over at Beausset with a load of traffic and a big spin ahead of him from number 2, which is the Mercedes of Jean-Ludovic Foubert, who goes all the way around. Foubert should be able to get off the concrete on the inside and get going again, but he stalled it for the moment. Thankfully, it didn't involve anybody else, but on cold tyres, too much of the right foot, loops it coming out of the corner, and around he goes. The BMW checks up behind, look, but no real drama done. So spin for number 2, Jean-Ludovic Foubert. And there is the Israeli driver, Roy Mayhaus, who is on his way up towards the line. Mayhaus yet to do a lap, but the Audi looking quick in the sectors, personal and an absolute best. Sharing that car with Clement Zeiler. Up towards the timing line, you can see how busy it is around, front and back. There's cars to negotiate all around, and currently number 34 was fastest, but not anymore, because the time from Luigi Bosco of Luca Bosco, just bettered by Roy Mayhaus, goes through, but Christophe Amon might be on for the top time himself, because he's just done an absolute best in the first sector. Wilfried Casarbon in his Toyota on the circuit. Robert Consani for Audi on track as well. So almost everybody now has been shaken out of the pit lane. Over the timing line there goes 55. That's Ruben Del Sart sharing the Aston Martin with Tom Canning, who was very unlucky at Monza, Tom, in the race that he started, the second race, because he got drilled into the first chicane by overzealous traffic around him, and that did for the Aston. So the former British GT4 class champion looking to go better here. Fastest at the moment is 88 Paul Everard, who has just gone to the top of the times, the former Carter. His first season of car racing, he's done a 2:14.285. Ruben Del Sart second. If you've got a very, very, very long memory, you might remember Ruben's father, Raphael Del Sart, racing in the UK in the very first year of Formula First against the likes of Kelvin Burt, Eugene O'Brien, Ben Edwards, and Raphael Del Sart was a race winner for Team Tarraco, as memory recalls, teammate to Kelvin Burt. Anyway, enough of memory lane. This is the Mistral Straight. Raphael Del Sart's son Ruben is 4th, Christophe Amon is 3rd. We've got Raponge is 2nd, and Fabien Michal, number 42 Audi, has now gone to the top of the times. There's 55 then, Ruben Del Sart. And notice that the GT4 cars use chicanes, of course, here, up to the run now on the Mistral Straight. Further back, you've got there the Toyota of Wilfried Casarbon going through. That car is yet to do a flying lap. Got a track limit warning coming for 88, Paul Everard, the man that was fastest, but now Fabien Michal is fastest. And has Everard had his lap taken away? Yes, I think he has, because from pole position, he has now not got a best lap against his name. So, track limit warnings, and indeed losing the lap time altogether. Luc Ibanez here could be one to watch. Had to miss a round of the championship last year because of all the COVID-related dramas, but he and Javier Lloveras make a very good partnership. They moved away from Ginetta to Mercedes for last year. And up towards the timing line comes Ibanez. Where is this going to put him? The Spanish driver breaks the beam to go fastest of all on a 2:13.905. Good effort that by Ibanez. Then 4 tenths up on Fabien Michal. how the United Autosports McLaren's getting on, and equally how is the Toyota of Stéphane Lemeray doing. Well, he's done two, as you see, absolute bests here, has Stéphane Lemeray on his first flying lap to boot. So traffic allowing, Lemeray here could be on for a good run, should be on for a good run. Goes a little bit deep into Beausset. 23, Bailey Voisin, who was the Monza double winner, only 18th at the moment, debut at Paul Ricard, so learning about the circuit. The more laps he does, the better it gets for him. Lemeray up the curve as he chases after the United Autosports McLaren. 23 and 32 are the two UA cars, with a lot of input from HHC Motorsport, Charlie Camp and Jody Hemming's squad, which has effectively taken over by UA, but Charlie and Jody running the GT4 operation. United Autosports, a big, big team, of course, these days, with WEC, ELMS, Daytona 24 Hours, Historic Racing, you name it. Over the line goes Lemeray, and he misses out, look, by 0.02 of a second. So a 2:13.907, and Lemeray just missing out from Ibanez. So it's Mercedes ahead of Toyota right now. So there is Bailey Voisin, sort of opening the door for Lemeray, then having to close it again to take the line for the corner. And Stéphane Lemeray, with much, much more Paul Ricard experience, crawling all over the back of the car that beat him twice at Monza. Voisin was 11th, he's just dropped to 12th in the times because Vincent Beltoise has gone up to third fastest now. Number 30, Alpine, 88 here is fourth. Paul Everard looking to try and cement some lap times. He was briefly the quickest on a lap, though, that then was taken away from him. So Everard needs to string some good ones together now. But fourth is good. Puts him in the mix. It's not looking great for Porsche at the moment. You've got to go a long way down the times to find the leading 718 Cayman, and it's 20th, Ivan Jacoma. And still, we've got four cars yet to do a time, and one of them is Joel Sturm, who was on the front row at Monza. Number 90 has had a lap time cancelled for track limit abuse. That is Jody Vullo. How's Delsart getting on? 11th. Wilfried Casalbon is up to 12th in the times now. And there, through the traffic, goes number 23. So this is Bailey Voisin, who's actually being outpaced at the moment by teammate Gus Bowers. Bowers is 10th. 8.5 minutes on the clock. Ibanez to Lemeray, 2,000ths. 2/10ths back, Vincent Beltoise, Alpine. 4th, Paul Everard, Mercedes. 5th, Fabien Michel, Audi. 6th, Marcus Lundstrass, Aston Martin. 7th, Chevrolet, Yop Rapponge. 8th, Audi, Christophe Amon. 9th, McLaren, Gus Bowers. 10th, Aston Martin, Ruben Delsart. And this, up to the line, 27, is César Gazot, who looks like he's going to be an improver, and he is. Up to 10th fastest then, César Gazot. So through he goes, lap done. Did an absolute best in the middle sector. And 27 there you see, which is the Aston, now finding itself in the traffic because just up the road, number 60, the Team GT McLaren, Ricard Distel and Alexander Voller, the drivers. It's Ricard Distel at the wheel in Q1, and he has to give up track position there to the Aston Martin down towards the chicane, heading down towards Saint-Beau. So we've got 7.5 minutes counting of this session. And there, number 69, Audi, which is the Christophe Amon, Michel Blanchemont Audi. That's one of the AM Cup entries, but Christophe Amon, hugely experienced driver. So now, in terms of times, who else might be an improvement before the end? There's one actually that's still yet to do a lap time, and it is Bernhard Laber's Team GT entry, the McLaren that he shares with Alain Vallon, who should be quick, McLaren Driver Development Programme member, but Bernhard Laber yet to do a lap time. He is on circuit, finally. Christophe Amon 7th as he comes through, so that's an improvement. There, number 14 ready to go. So Rui Meurhas, who was good early on in the session, venturing back out. 23rd that car has now dropped to, but there's time left in which it can improve. Number 30 Alpine, third fastest, Vincent Beltoise then, the Caterham ambassador, but very, very quick behind the wheel of one of these cars as well. And of course the Alpine has its own one-mate European Series, gives good grids, good racing. Vincent Beltoise only 0.2 of a second shy of the top time, so he's in the mix very definitely. Shares this car, the CMR entry, with Loris Cabirou, who we saw at Monza was very rapid indeed as well. Beltoise loses a place on the grid, as you see, he's down to 4th. All of that's because Nico Gomar has now gone to the top by 12 thousandths from Luc Ibanez. So 2:13.893 now is the best time of the session from the AGS events entry. Nico Gomar's Aston up to the very top, 2:13.893. Ibanez 2nd, Lemeray 3rd, Beltoise 4th, Everard 5th, and Michel 6th. 9.92 in the pit lane is Amedeo Pampanini. And that car is 35th. So through the chicanes on the Mistral straight, there's the car that's gone fastest, Nicolas Gomar. And having gone to the top of the times in Q1, backs out on that next lap, lets the traffic go. So Nicolas Gomar, experienced driver, shares the car with Eric Hare, but Gomar doing a very, very good job indeed there. Won the AM Championship last year, experience in GT3 as well as GT4 trim. He shared with Gilles Vannelet last season. 21, sitting in the pit lane, the Santilot car of Evans, Stephen Art and Greg Fassel. Evan Stevenart doing the first driving duties to get the car 35th. And everybody has now done a time, including Bernhard Laber, who's up to 38th. 42 cars we have. And all of them have been out there. Another lap time has just been cancelled at 89. It's Nicolas Gomar. So the fastest lap that he had done counts for nothing. So Gomar loses pole position. Track limit abuse at turn 15, we are told. Last corner, Virage du Pont. So change all of that as Joel Sturm's Porsche presses on. 9th he is at the moment. So Luc Ibanez given back his pole position and sitting in the pit lane at the moment. Stéphane Lemeray 2nd, Vincent Beltoise 3rd, and where is Sturm? Still 9th, and there's the possibility of an improvement by the end of the lap, but actually sector 1 a little bit down, so maybe the Cayman isn't quite going to sparkle here. It is the best of the Porsches right now, this particular car, number 22. Moller Madsen will take over for the second session and has always been a very, very quick driver indeed in the Silver Cup, so we'll keep an eye on Nikolai for the next session, bearing in mind he's a former silver champion. There's one more lap that can be wrung out of the session here. The fastest at the moment is a 2:13.905. Slower lap times, of course, than GT3 cars, partly because they're not as quick anyway, but also because their lap is a slower one with the chicanes on the Mistral. So what can Nicolas Gomar do then to get his lap back, get pole position again. He's had it, it's been taken away from him, and so far so good. Look, personal best, absolute best. So Gomar at the moment is 42nd and last in the times, having had the lap time disallowed. There's nothing else that he could rely on, so he's got to do it all over again, and the pressure is on because it's really his last shot, I would offer you. There's just about time to squeeze another lap out of the session, but with a personal and an absolute best, this is the ideal opportunity to get himself back up to the top of the times. He comes now then down through Virage du Pont. This is where he was running out wide earlier and incurring the wrath of the officials. He's up the curb again, but I'm just about staying within the right area of the white lines, breaks the beam, and he's got to try and beat the 2:13.9, and he does a 9:45, so third it is for Nicolas Gomar. So Nicolas Gomar losing that pole position thanks to track limits. He's still able to try on this lap as well if the tyres are going to allow, and it's just difficult on that last shot to gauge whether he's backed off or not. Alexander Hartwig has done, and will give way now to Joel Camathias for the second session. Former champ car racer Camathias. Alexander Hartwig gets out, walks away. Former Carter and esports racer. Number 69 being prepared for the next session for Michel Blanchemin to take out. So the flag is now out. Is there anybody else out there looking as though they might be able to improve in sectors? Got to say no, to be fair. So Luc Ibanez for the Mercedes squad, fastest by 2,000s from Stéphane Lemray in the Toyota. And then Nicolas Gomar third, Vincent Beltoise fourth, fifth Paul Evra and Fabien Michal sixth. Some still to take the flag though, pressing on there. Look, number 18, which is the Marcus Lundstrass Aston. He shares the car with Henrik Pedersen. And Marcus Lundstrass, the faster of the two, is very impressive in his stint at Monza. And has yet to take the flag, I think I'm right in saying. So there, Lundstrass heads towards the end of the session. For the teams, then they've got that quick turnaround to get the next driver in, ready for Q2. So Joel Sturm gives way to Nikolai Müller-Madsen. Joel Sturm, who's driven in the ADAC's GT4 Championship, the German series, as well as a good pedigree in karting. The 19-year-old, number 17, sits alongside, which will now be handled, the V8 Racing entry, by Timon Nabors. Dutch Supercar Challenge racer as well as GT4 competitor. And there the Mercedes, that's the car that's fastest thus far, Luc Ibanez. So 2:13.905 is the top time out of Q1. Javier Rolleras now gets into the car. And 2,000 for the second, as I say, at the end of Q1, but that's a standalone grid. So what we look at here will determine the grid for the first race, provisionally, with Luc Ibanez then fastest from Stéphane Lemray and Nicolas Gomar in the end being third ahead of Vincent Beltoise, Paul Evra fifth from Fabien Michal, then Marcus Lundstrass, Christophe Amont, Jock Raponge from Joel Sturm, Thomas Odier, Robert Consané, César Gazo from Gus Bowers and Bailey Boys in the two United Autosports McLarens together in, by the end of the session, 14th and 15th in the times. 16th was the Toyota of Wilfried Cazelbon ahead of Sebastian Bode, then Ruben Del Sart from Rui Mejohas, Alexander Hartwig and Luca Bosco there to round out the top 21. Even Jacoma a long way back in number 718 Porsche. Normally he's one of the front runners, 26th only. It's not looking like a Porsche circuit just yet. Look at that, the penultimate car is one of the Porsches, Christian Decamp for Century Porsche Ticino, and slowest of all at Team GT, Ricard Distel. So we have then the team cycling drivers through, getting them ready for the next element of qualifying. So for the second race grid about to be decided, we've got 5 minutes just under before the cars go out onto the circuit. Don't think there's anybody with any real dramas from that first session, but we'll get set to have the cars onto the circuit. So Q2 getting underway, as I say, just about 3 minutes time. So there you've got the Audi getting set, which is the Santalot Junior entries, and Q1 having been a busy old session. Of course, for the French drivers, it's a place they know pretty well because the French GT Championship is for GT4, and that comes here regularly. But for one or two drivers, especially the Brits, it's something new, especially those at United Autosports, for example, moving up from Ginetta Junior racing. So we're learning about new tracks all the time. Anyway, looking back at Q1, drama to begin with as Amedeo Pampanini ran out of road over at Senior. And more drama heading towards Beausset as Jean-Ludovic Foubert lost it, looped it, and carried on. Rui Mejerhaas was good early on in the session as the Santalot Audi ran nicely, and Luc Imanieff was the man to go to the top of the times. Stéphane Lemray pressing on in number 8 Toyota, but his best efforts 2,000 shy of the Mercedes. Even though Nicolas Gomard was able to get himself up to the top, he then lost the lap time because of exceeding track limits. He had to do it all over again, and Gomard got third at the checkered flag. So Luc Imanieff then fastest in the Mercedes at the end of Q1 for the NM Racing Team. So we are ready for Q2. The flag at the end of the pit lane. Marshals can be dropped in a moment or two. I think we're about a minute from the green light, a minute and a bit from the green light going on. Sven van Laar at the wheel of number 35, the 2017 Clio Benelux champion. He's raced in the NASCAR Euro Series, Belgian Endurance Championship. Seen him in the Spa 24s as well, Sven van Laar. He's ready to go, taking over the car from Johan Vannerum. So two good experienced drivers there in the AM number 35 Mercedes that's run by the Sellerslach racing team. Patrick Sellerslach, who was part of the FIA GT1 World Championship going back many seasons. Over at United Autosports, number 32 is the Gus Bowers, now Dean McDonald entry. Dean McDonald took a pole position at Monza, so what can he do here? Well, again, it's a circuit that he's got limited knowledge of. United Autosports basing themselves at pit out, ready to go. And number 17, which is the time at Nabours in the V8 Racing, entered. What else could you call the team, really? Chevrolet. It's great to have these cars on the grid. They make a fabulous noise. They were really in the wars at Monza, but it's good that the car is here this weekend, looking slightly different in its livery as well. So GT4 continuing to give good variety. It certainly gives good racing, absolutely no question about that. And a category that was a slow burn for many, many years because really it was the tuners that were developing the cars. So you were a nominated tuner. You then had the deal to build the race version of the car. And one of the changes from the FIA was to let the manufacturers do it. Suddenly, manufacturers building turnkey cars moved the whole platform on a level. And everybody wanting to be part of GT4 because there are lots of championships. They're perfect cars for the young drivers, perfect cars for the AMs. They don't just drop into these series. You can use them in lots of others, or track days if you so desire as well. And the market has absolutely boomed. So GT4 incredibly strong. There was, of course, the effort last year before COVID hit to try and have a GT4 World Final, and hopefully that will still be considered in the future by SRO, because with such a strong French and European and British Championship, plus cars hopefully in the not too distant future back racing in Asia, The market is growing. It's not perhaps quite at the GT3 level yet, but it's getting there. Right, so there is the Audi good to go. Evan Stevenart did drive, and Greg Fassel should take over. His is the name on the entry list. Number 21 accelerates off down the pit lane now. A distinctive engine Audi note. Number 23 of Charlie Fagg, part of the British Racing Drivers Club's Rising Stars programme. Good to go. Spectacles on, study of concentration, listening to instructions from the team as to when to go. Greg Gilbert, very, very fast, very experienced driver, third at Monza in race 2. He will qualify number 42 Audi in the blue and white, very familiar Santalot colours. Sebastian Chatel's team. Away he goes down the pit road, and goes past the Alpine. Really pretty car, the Alpine. And that's going to be handled in this second session by Loris Kabirou. So again, just the 20 minutes, soon rattle through a session like this. There is number 69 Audi, which is currently being helmed by Michel Blanchemin. Again, a very experienced driver. Both races at Monza, as I said, were won by Bailey Voisin and Charlie Fagg, and of course they are also the winning silvers. The winning Pro-Ams, Greg Gilbert, Fabien Michel race 2, Ivan Jacome and Max Busnelli race 1. And of the Ams, Wilfried Casalbon and Andrea Benezet won the first race, Giuseppe Gezzi and Antonio Giovanelli the second. I hesitate because I don't think the Italian Ortolando Sport team is here. No, it's not. So that AM winning crew not here. I suppose it made sense as GT4 drivers from Italy in the Italian GT to race on home soil, but they're not at Paul Ricard. Right, to the times then. Next time around we'll start to be able to piece together lap times. Remember that the best from Q1 was a 2:13.9. Number 69 Audi from the Team Full Motorsport stable, now with Michel Blanchemin at the wheel of it, onto a flying lap. So as the clock ticks on down, who do we have looking good in sectors? Konstantin Lachenauer, number 27, looks rapid in the AGS Events Aston that he's taken over from César Gazot. And the lap time yet to be offered up, but we'll get there shortly, that's for certain. Takes a long, long time for everybody to cycle out onto the circuit, then to do a start-up lap, then to get a flying lap in. And that's why the teams get 2 one-hour free practice periods. That's when you can do all the setup work, because qualifying very much means you've got to be on the money straight away in order to get the lap times in. So up to the end of the lap, twitches the Audi. But so far so good this from Fabien Michel. As far as from Michel Blanchemin, I should say. As far as Lachenauer is concerned in the Aston, he's done 2 purple sector times, so I think he's going to initially go top off the target time. But here is Michel Blanchemin up towards the end of the lap, and of course they are personal bests because it's his first flying lap. Where this is going to put him in the grand scheme of things, we'll have to find out. Breaks the beam, goes through now. And as he does so, that's a 2:17.114, some way shy of what we had in Q1. Konstantin Lachenauer then, number 27, the Formula 3 regional race winner, 9 victories last year. He's gone quick, he's 2:15.6 from Clement Zeiler, 2:16.5. Blanchemin third, Nicolas Stürzinger fourth in the Porsche. Paul Teiskens is 5th, Aston Martin, and 6th is the Philippe Bava NM Racing Mercedes, the sister car to that that's fastest out of Q1. 42 Audi though, Greg Gilvan. Now look at this, 4/10 quicker than anybody else in Sector 1. It's his first flying lap, and this is a car you should anticipate to be up at the pointy end of the grid. So Greg Gilvan hustles on. Round senior, off the road. You see those little floppy markers to say you can go wide, but you've got to be back in as these taper you back towards the race circuit. Gilvan looking good, using all of the road there, going through Beausset, but he's actually played this right in terms of the traffic, hasn't he? There's limited traffic up the road ahead of him, so it's looking good for him as he turns now through the corner. So Greg Gilvan with a 2:14.9 from Tom Canning to beat. I've not yet touched on the man that's second. Ralph Kellener's massively experienced driver. Ralph, podium finisher at Le Mans. He is second by 0.6 of a second shy of Canning. But what about Greg Gilvan? He's got to beat a 2:14.9. Can he do it? Yes! Absolutely perfect lap. Purples all the way across. Greg Gilvan then goes top. However, Charlie Fagg here has done 2 purples, 2 absolute bests on his first flying lap. So Charlie Fagg then, in the first sector, is 4/10 quicker than Gilvan. In the second sector, he's nearly 2/10 quicker than Greg Gilvan. So Charlie Fagg, who was an absolute standout at Monza, doing it again here, looking really, really good. Comes then now from Beausset through Bendor, out of Village up towards Tours, and then sets the car up for the tight right of Virage du Pont. There is traffic up the road, but he's just about escaped it, I think. Remember, 2:13 to beat now. Only one driver in the 13s, Greg Gilvan. Is Charlie Fagg going to go fastest of all? Then the McLaren accelerates up towards the timing line, and it is a 2:13.3. It is the fastest time of the session. It is pole by 0.162 of a second. Who do we have there rotating? Is that 89, Eric Hare, in the AGS Events Aston. Around it goes. So Eric Hare able to rejoin, but big loop for him. 12 minutes to go now. Now the last lap of number 69 has been cancelled for track limits. That is Michel Blanchemin, so he drops down the order accordingly. The race director, the GT4, is the British official Steve Burns, the chairman of the stewards, another British official Peter Roberts. They will look at all of these reports and track limit warnings and decide whether or not a lap needs to be removed or not. 35 is in strife, as you see, the Sellersla car. Sven van Laar ready to get going again. Try not to impede too many people as he does rejoin the circuit there, as he comes from, where did he have the lose? Bendor, I think that was, over at turn 7. Then through Village, down towards Tours. And there Greg Gilvan, look round the outside. That's brave in the traffic, but he's got to get on with it because he doesn't want to sit there for too long behind Jamie Caroline in number 70, the former British F4 champion. Jamie was in the wars in race 1 at Monza, ploughed into the traffic under a full course yellow. He's yet to do a lap time, actually, Jamie Caroline here, but should be pretty rapid, I would have thought. Still learning, admittedly, about Paul Ricard. Goes 30th. There's more to come, that's for certain. Antoine Potty goes over the line to be 4th. This is the car that Stéphane Lemeray drove in Q1. And instantly 5th, because an improvement is offered up by Hugo Chevalier to go 3rd fastest, 2:13.909 there. So we've had the lap time cancelled, as I mentioned earlier, from Michel Blanchemin. And lap times still, in quite a number of cases, to be posted from the likes of Jim Pla, and it'll be a quick one. Joel Camathias, it'll be a quick one. Nikolai Moller-Madsen, it'll be a quick one when he ventures out. Xavier Lloveras in the car that's fastest for Q1. So Javier Lloveras will be another driver to keep an eye on. So the last half of the session starts to approach. The second half of qualifying now then, as 10 minutes are on the clock. There is Potty. Good first sector on this lap, look, 10th up. Quick ride of the curb as he comes from the chicane on the Mistral straight, put in ready for safety grounds to slow the cars before they get to senior, because in the majority of cases here you're looking at either relatively inexperienced or AM drivers. There are some very experienced AMs, don't get me wrong, but with the speed of the cars and the experience levels of the drivers, the chicane put in for GT4 purposes. Antoine Potty, though, here riding the curb on the inside of Bossé, which is possibly then going to chuck the car out wide through the next corner. But he does get away with it. So Antoine Potty, who raced karts and Formula 4s in the Southeast Asia Championship before coming into GT4 cars, wriggles his way through the traffic. He's lost 33 thousandths in that middle sector, but he's still pressing on. So Potty through, heads then towards the timing line, and Jim Pla up to third fastest in number 87 Mercedes, Jean-Luc Bobelic's car. So Jim Pla third quickest, good effort. Over the line goes Antoine Potty from sixth back up to fourth then. That puts him ahead of Hugo Chevalier. And it means that we've got the leading 7 all within a second of one another right now. They're going through his time at Nabours in the Chevrolet. He's actually done a good job, 6th quickest. And is that, yes it is, Nikolai Müller-Madsen, who has gone 16 fastest. Right, this is one to watch. Müller-Madsen in the Porsche. The Porsches, you have to say, still look a bit breathless, but if anybody can wring a time out of one of these cars, it's Nikolai Müller-Madsen. Max Busnelli, 15th, having taken 7.18 over from Ivan Jacoma. So Nikolai Müller-Madsen, who for many, many seasons we associated with Audis, both in terms of racing in the Audi TT Cup and then the R8 GT4. He and Milan Doncia winning the Silver Cup going back to 2018. Now a Porsche driver, as he was last year at Allied Racing. He's a fiery competitor, is Nikolai Müller-Madsen, NMM. Comes onto the Mistral straight, trying to get away from the traffic. And in fact, Müller-Madsen bails from this lap, doesn't he? Because there, up on the inside line goes number 126, which is the second of the NM Mercedes. And so Rafael Villanueva is the man behind the wheel of it, pushing on. But Müller-Madsen not able to do very much on this lap. An incident between 89, which I think is Eric Hare, yes it is, and 18 is being looked at by the stewards. Number 18 is Henrik Pedersen. Number 90 there is Francisco Guerra, pressing on in his Mercedes, 23rd fastest for the 2018 Lotus Cup Italy champion, part of the Trivelato racing squad, moving into European GT4 circles this year. 6.5 minutes are on the clock now. Antoine Potty, absolute best middle sector look, but only 4th again in the times. Stays 4th as he comes across the line. That GT4 spec Supra makes a great noise. CMR, the team operating the car here. Car badged as a GR Supra, the GR bit for Gazoo Racing. And 992 in the pit lane, which is the car of Nicola Stürzinger. Well up early on, but down to 34th now. Others have gone faster within the session. So there's number 992. Another lap time has just been cancelled, and it's from 21, which is the Santalok entry of Gregory Faisal. So that puts Faisal down to 37th and puts the pressure on. Now this car is the fastest right now because Greg Gilbert has gone back ahead of Charlie Fagg before he bailed for the pit lane, and 36 thousandths is all that separates Gilbert and Fagg. 2:13.312 being Fagg's time, but a 2:13.276 now for Greg Gilbert, who knows Paul Ricard a heck of a lot better, it's got to be said. So Charlie Fagg's effort's very impressive there. This is Jamie Caroline. If you're wondering why it says JL, the entry list for GT4 quirkily includes lots of people's middle names. So he's down as Jamie Lee Caroline, but British fans know him as Jamie. It's his dad that we know as Lee Caroline, and Dave, his grandfather, who of course used to race on the ovals as well. But Jamie, after many seasons of single-seater racing, drove in British GT4 last year and comes to the European Series for this season. And the Mercedes there tries to dive bomb the Alpine as they dive through the corner at Tours, and long left up towards Virage Dupont. Big stop for the right hander, the nose dips, the car squirms. Jamie Caroline then up towards the timing line. Is this going to be an improvement? Breaks the beam, 9th fastest, so it is an improvement. Jamie Caroline dragging the car up the order here. Number 30 Alpine back into the pit lane. So it's Audi, McLaren, Mercedes, Toyota, Mercedes, Mercedes, Chevrolet, Mercedes, Mercedes, McLaren, Audi, Alpine, the order. This 12th is the Alpine in question. Loris Cabirou at the wheel, and that looks like the session is done. Clambers out, 3 3/4 minutes on the clock. CMR, Classic Modern Racing, that's pretty busy with Alpines and also the Toyotas to operate. And also GT3 Bentley, lest we forget. So that's the order you see on the timing tower. Greg Gilbert the fastest, and the margin just 36 thousandths on the second, which illustrates how ridiculously close GT4 racing is. Now this is the one interloper. Jim Pla thunders out of senior in the Mercedes that he shares with Jean-Luc Bobelic. So Jim Pla turns now up through the right-hander from Village up towards Tours. Looks like he's backed off, doesn't he? So that was like a slow run from the Beausset section down to the end of the lap. So Jim Pla wasn't improving in sectors. Is he lagging back to have one last shot at it? Maybe he is. Number 70 Mercedes still presses on in the hands of Jamie Caroline, another of the Trivelato cars, and he's way up the curb there. That unsettles him. He's 9th in the times, don't forget. Very, very few improvements coming now in the leading group, but one has come from Javier Lloveras in the NM Mercedes. Here comes Caroline then through Tours, heads now into Virage Dupont at the end of the lap once he's exited this long tightening left. Hit the brakes hard, the nose dips, he turns into the right up towards the timing line. So Jamie Caroline needs anything better than a 2:14.2 in order to make progress on the grid. It's going to be close, but not quite close enough, because he misses out by just under 0.05 of a second, and Sven van Leer is off the road for the second time in the session, number 35 Mercedes. So the Sellerslach are in trouble. Now, how is Javier Lloveras getting on? He's done a personal best sector 1, but he's down in sector 2. Lloveras is trying to find something like a second, ideally. He's 7/10 shy of pole, but to get himself there by a margin would be about a second. Only 41 cars have gone out. 42 we had out in the first session. Who have we lost? Need to research. So there's one car that hasn't gone out at all, and I'm not aware that we had a problem from anybody. So there, number 15 goes through. This is Javier Lloveras, who comes up towards the line, and where does that lap put him as he breaks the beam? 6th fastest, so an improvement. 2:13.961. And the flag is imminent, 40-odd seconds or so to go. Into the pit lane comes number 3, Toyota. So that car of Andrea Benezet, quite a long way down the order, 22nd. But again, there's plenty of scope come the race to gain ground. Big squeal of tyres from Tom Canning hustling on. He's down in 16th though now in the Aston Martin. Part of this, I suspect, is down to track knowledge, but Tom Canning, we know he's very quick. As I say, GT4 champion, so we should be able to haul that up the order. Flag is now out. More and more track limit warnings are coming as well, so the officials, I think, might be in for a busy lunchtime, checking everybody's laps and making sure that they were within the demarcation of the circuit, and indeed whether the lap times that they've set can stand.
So the flag ready to receive Tom Canning, up in Sector 1, down in Sector 2, 16th he is. His last lap, or his best lap I should say, 2:14.6. And this is, again, a 2:14.6 and 98 thousandths slower, so he goes no quicker. And there is the car park that embraces Chevrolet and Mercedes right now, the two Sellers-lab cars behind the V8 Chevrolet. 007 has to be an Aston Martin, doesn't it? And it's the street art racing entry of Paul Tysgens, a car that is, in the end, 32nd in the times, showing it with Pascal Bachmann. So the AM car done for the session. Last few come through to take the flag, and then we can turn our attention to the two races, but they will be tomorrow. So it's a moderately leisurely day if you're a GT4 crew, and the reason being that the timetable is very much based around GT3 today, because they have to get qualifying in and a 6-hour race. So for the GT4 teams, it means they've got a moderately quiet day today, but a busy day tomorrow with both races in the timetable there. So a relatively trouble-free morning, actually. The odd spin. The only question mark is over which car missed Q2, but we'll try and unravel that. It's quite a lot to look through out of a qualifying session with 40-plus cars. But fast is Greg Gilbert. Still, there are people pouring over the line to take the flag, incidentally. So there is number 69 Audi. Job done at the end of the session for Christophe Amont and Michel Blanchemin. Let's have a look at how Q2 ended up then, with Greg Gilbert at the top of the times by 36 thousandths from Charlie Fagg, and then third fastest being 87 of Jim Pla. So good session for Greg Gilbert's Audi, and sets us up for a good lively race when we get to the race tomorrow, with race 1 being tomorrow morning. So just to recap the order: Greg Gilbert from Charlie Fagg, third fastest Jim Pla, fourth fastest the Supra in the hands for the second session of Antoine Potti, and Hugo Chevalier fifth from Javier Llovera, seventh Timon Naboers, eighth was the car of Enzo Juliet, ninth fastest Jamie Caroline, and 10th Dean McDonald, not here, being able to recapture the pace that he displayed at Monza when he got pole position for race 2. Cars, if you're wondering why they're being released from the pit lane, so they then drive across the track and into the paddock, which is on the other side of the circuit. But Greg Gilbert, the man topping the times, and here at Paul Ricard at the end of Q2 for the GT4 European Series. Let's just look back at the highlights of that session, with the cars getting a new set of Pirellis ready to go. 20 minutes in pretty warm temperatures. It's a day with a bit of a breeze, the flags flutter, and 41 cars we had making their way out onto the circuit, because the one that we were missing out of Q2 was number 66, Alain Vallon, never ventured out in the car that Bernhard Laber had driven in the earlier session. We had lots of trading of times between, for example, Charlie Fagg and Greg Gilbert. We had a big lose coming early on from Sven van Laar. Eric Hare had been another spinner in the Aston Martin, and Sven van Laar would have a second drama before the very end of the session. Charlie Fagg quickest for a time, but then Greg Gilbert went fastest right at the very end. So it's a battle between Audi and McLaren, with Mercedes third in the efforts of Jim Pla, Toyota fourth, Antoine Potti. So it all bodes well for a really competitive race of GT4 European Series races tomorrow here from Paul Ricard. Join us if you can. For now, from qualifying and David Addison, goodbye.